Hi guys, in at Paint Tech. I just want to take 2 minutes of your time to talk about where do you start? Well, where do we all start? Let's start with the basics. Let's start with something like YouTube. Okay, YouTube is an incredible resource, pros and cons. Okay, after YouTube, and we've got a bit of an idea, we've been inspired, we've kind of got some of the basics, and we've tried and tried and tried, and it just doesn't quite maybe stack up. So what's the next option? The next option is online course. If you're probably no different than myself. Obviously, every time I want to learn something, I'll go on YouTube, I'll flip around, and I'll find something that I really like, and I'll find somebody I like that I resonate with. Depending on the value that's given, the fact that, how does that help my business will actually determine whether I go to the next step. The next step obviously would be to see if they do some form of online training. Why? It's cheaper. Let's be serious about this. It always works out cheaper. There's no constraints. There's no commitments. I could do it in my own time. I don't feel too bad either if I don't kind of take it serious, or I kind of spend a bit of money. I do it, but I don't do it. So again, pros and cons. But if that course actually gets you somewhere and you're thinking, oh my God, this is actually now starting to work. I think the difference between YouTube and online course is that level of inspiration, the fact that you want to find out more. But the difference between actually doing an online course and a practical course, like a face-to-face element, is you just want to get shit done right. You want to cut through all of the bits that you're struggling with. Trust me, I've done it myself. I've done numerous online courses, but the quality stuff, then what I'll do is I'll actually try and find the physical course. But let's talk about the pros of YouTube. Well, straight away, one of the aspects that we've started bringing into our own business, obviously we do kitchens now. We focus on kitchens, and again, we'll talk about those as well in depth. We realized that for us to maximize on all of our marketing, all of our customers, all of our resources, space, skills, everything else, it was far easier to add something into our business like worktop refurbishment, let's say the resin worktops or the stone flex or spray granite. All those aspects are things that we can bolt onto our business. We were finding early days when we started doing more and more kitchens that customers were asking us, is there anything, or could you recommend anybody that could actually help us maybe change the worktops? So one of the things that we wanted to do was figure out what options we had. So we wanted to add the worktops to, obviously, our kitchens. We got on YouTube, we started following, and I went down a rabbit hole. And I think that's probably one of the problems and very clever of YouTube, that they send you down these rabbit holes, and before you know it, you've been on YouTube for like 2-3 hours and not actually achieving anything, because they've got you and they keep you there. And I was the same, especially with the resin worktops, because it is crazy. You can do all sorts and it's fantastic. But then when I realized I wanted to get serious, I had a look for online courses. There was nothing really. There was just some tutorials on YouTube, to be fair, because everybody was just selling shit, selling obviously the resins and that. At the same time, we were chatting to a company in Chicago, Hawk Labs, that were doing the stone flex finish, which looked really good and pretty straightforward for us because we were already very conversant with, let's say, HVLP technology. So spraying it was an easy thing for us. But the resin was the bit that I really fancied, and I knew that we could make really good money on top of what we're already doing with our kitchens. So I had no other choice but to invest. And I think that's the difference. An online course will lead you further into your investment, and that's all it is. An investment will pay off if you use it. If you do stuff and you don't use it, then it wasn't really an investment. So we invested in going to Chicago. Went to Chicago, spent 7 days there, 5 days training and 2 days sightseeing, as you would. And I got to spend time with someone that had been doing a lot of the stuff for a long time. So all of those little mistakes that I were going to make, they'd already been sorted, okay? All those cock-ups that I was going to make, I was still going to make them, but at least when I made them, I knew why. I knew that obviously if the resin was mixed wrong, if the temperatures were wrong, if I added too much color, if I played with it for too long, I'd have problems. So what I'm trying to say is YouTube was absolutely fantastic. That got my juices flowing. I realized that it was a really good move for me to add that concept into my business. Then what I wanted to do was I wanted to do some online training, because to do proper training, I knew I'd have to go further afield. Eventually I did. I could have just done training in the UK, but I decided to go to America to do it because I felt I was going to get a better outcome, which since I've done a couple of courses over here, they've been good. Every day is a school day. I believe you should do as much training, whether it is physical with other people or whether you do it online. All knowledge is powerful. So for me, I did it, and now we've brought it back. We do it in our own business, and now because obviously we've got the academy, we also teach it. We're teaching what we've already learned. We're already teaching what we've got wrong. We're already teaching what we cock up, but we're also teaching what we get right. So yes, we'll be doing more YouTube videos, obviously about some of the finishes. Yes, we'll probably even do some mini online courses, and we obviously run the physical course. And that is completely off topic for you guys that would expect me, obviously, talking about spraying, which we'll do. You know, we've got plenty of time and we'll talk about spraying and the benefits of using YouTube and everything else. I just wanted to try and get a scenario across from my personal experience of using YouTube in a scenario that I now make and my lads make and the team make and people that have done training with us, they all make really good money by adding something additional to their business. YouTube got me started. An online course would obviously get me to the next stage where I'd actually invest, actually purchase products, have a few goes. But the physical training, that's the difference. If I don't do the physical training, and this is my experience, if I don't do physical training, it's just going to take me longer. And the problem is when you're having a go on your own for the first time, whether you think it's right or wrong and you've watched training, the problem is your confidence takes a kick. And that's the biggest killer. When your confidence takes a kick, you go backwards. You go back into your safe zone and you'll leave it alone a little bit. So, guys, think about YouTube. Find something that floats your boat. Find somebody you resonate with. Look at the value. See what they're giving. Then check out, see if they've got online content. Okay? Invest small. Invest your time, because that's what you're really investing, not necessarily the cost, because it's usually very small. And if that online course resonates with you and you believe that it's worth an investment to add to your business, okay, for higher profits, then seriously, think about doing that one-to-one group training scenario. Just make sure someone stood behind you, lifting your arm, bending your knee, doing what you've got to do, okay? It's far better. And the one thing that you get additional to that, you've always got people to pick up the phone and fall back on. That is the difference. So guys, YouTube is a winner, online courses a must, but physical training, yeah, that's where the investment really pays off. Cool, have a cracking day.